For many people, failing in business is the worst nightmare, and it's actually the reason they will never ever start with a business. Because they take those failures so damn personal, and they think everybody's just waiting for them to see them fail, and they will be mocked for the rest of their lives. Also, people automatically think a failure it's tied to being bankrupt and paying off debts for the rest of your lives. Actually, most business owners, they failed in the past. They have failed many times and they still fail today, including myself. My first really big failure, it was on a project. It was not really a business, but it was actually a band. I'm talking about it in another video. This was a band I worked on for 4 years. I mean, this was a typical follow your passion project. I thought I was gonna be a rock star. I thought I was gonna be super successful simply because I had the mindset to be successful. I created everything, all the lyrics, all the music, the whole concept. I put a lot of time and effort into it. I mean, it's never ever gained traction. It was all actually a huge waste of time and money. In 2013, I shut down a band because the truth is nobody actually cares about your passion. If you really want to follow your passion, it's terrible advice to start your business. And that was actually the big takeaway from this failure. The thing I also learned there was I was in love with this idea. Didn't know how to stop. I put so much time in this. The thing I should have learned was know when to stop. Know when it's actually just beating a dead horse. The next business idea I had was in 2014. I had the idea to start a fitness clothing brand. Back in the day, it was not so saturated as it is today. I thought with a good branding, we could maybe achieve something. We actually started well with this business, but the problem there is I got in touch with certain people that had experience in this market, and I listened to their advice, and they actually overwhelmed me with information. They actually made it sound way more complicated than it actually was. I thought I was going to design fitness clothes from scratch, while if I would have done it today, I would just have imported existing tank tops or whatever from China and simply put my logo on this and sell it like this. This is how most fitness brands also start. But I was completely overwhelmed, and after being overwhelmed, I simply pulled the plug. I never actually went onto the market because I saw it actually way too big. The lesson I learned here was that I should have tried with the minimum means as possible and see if it would work. My next business was also related to the fitness industry, and it was a food prepping company. Back then I lived in Belgium doing fitness on a daily basis, and I thought most people probably have the same problem as me. They just don't like to cook. They would actually love to pay for a service that delivers the food that you just have to warm up in the microwave. This business did not exist in Belgium, at least not where I live. I realized I needed to try this with a minimum of costs. So I found a company that was willing to make the meals. I just was gonna order those meals and bring it to the client, actually working as a middleman. So I tried this. This was actually one of the first businesses where I really had a product on the market. And I had a couple of clients ordering from me, but it also failed. This actually blew my mind. I couldn't understand why it did fail. It was simply not a good place to have this business. There were not enough people actually that were active in fitness that also wanted to pay a bit more money to get prepped meals. So I had a couple of clients, but it was simply not enough to make a business out of it. Luckily, the damage was not too much. I didn't lose a lot of money on this, but I pulled the plug after a couple of months. I saw that there were other people that tried to get into this specific market and they also failed. When I see in certain other countries it does work, but in my country it was very, very hard. So what I learned about this business was actually that my market was simply too small. I was never gonna be able to make money with this small market. That was in 2015. The year after, 2016, I actually started a new business. I thought I was gonna get rich of it. I found a Chinese manufacturer of VR goggles and I thought this was gonna be the next big thing. I set up a website and I made a deal with one of those Chinese guys that I was gonna be the exclusive seller for this brand. So this was a big mistake because I could not brand it myself. I was selling somebody else's brands. Chinese are terrible in branding, for one thing. Second is you actually have absolutely no control over this. It didn't take long until there were other sellers selling the same product. Although I said like, hey dude, I thought we had like a deal. They just brushed it off. I mean, they couldn't care less about me. On top of that, it was not a great product. But what I learned here, I started actually making my own websites. I learned a lot about branding, a lot about e-commerce. This actually cleared the path for me for my next business. And that's actually the business I'm having right now. If it wasn't for all those failures, I would never be in the situation that I am right now. Simply by struggling early in the process, I understand now why certain business struggle and others don't. This helps me today still. Now I understand that certain businesses simply won't be good businesses because it's simply very hard to execute or you need a lot of money to test it even. So this is why I ditched many ideas over time. Even today with my current businesses, I'm still failing and I'm still learning from that. And it's very normal because you cannot be static as a business. You have to try new things. You have to try new marketing and new channels and new products. I mean, if you don't do this as a business, you're losing. Failing, it's a very normal thing in business. Even if you have a successful business, it's very normal to still fail in the process. You have to try new things and eventually fail. Just make sure that those failures aren't too big so you don't drag them for the rest of your lives. Embrace your failures because this is actually what makes you into a successful business owner.